a little bit more composure, more patience. You know, they got a lot of ball, a lot of possession, and good territory. So, you know, I expect Wales to come out now and really go for it in the second half. Scotland have soaked a lot of pressure up. In the last 20 minutes will be very tiring for Scotland. So, but Scotland are used to playing without the ball. You know, that's what they do. They counter-attack all the time. You know, so it's still anyone's game, John.
Okay, well, as we head towards the start of the second half, a quick mention from all of us, and especially I know from Jonathan, to Dylan Rees in hospital after an injury that he sustained in a match last weekend. And all of us, Dylan, wish you the speediest possible recovery. So here we go with another 40 minutes, and it is fascinating. Poised, it could go either way. Let's go back to Andrew.
Well, Kelly Brown still having a little chat to Craig Joubert just about how he thinks things went in the first half and what he thinks that Craig Joubert can do better. I mean, it was very interesting in the first half because there were clearly some contentious decisions on both sides, and in such a finely balanced game, who knows, you don't want it to be settled by a decision like that. You want it to be settled by some moment of brilliance, which we hope we have in the second half. George North coming in to play scrum half.
It's a fantastic take at the kickoff from the Welsh.
And there is Phillips.
Again, good pressure there by the Scottish boys. Forced a hurried kick, and now an opportunity for Scotland.
And Johnny Beattie just watching that one bounce and finds Hogg. And down to his opposite number, Halfpenny. Instead, Biggar takes it.
And again, look at the Scots boys, they're back there. It's very difficult to find space.
A little space there, but Scotland have the penalty. Toby Faletau penalised.
And again, you know, I think the boys in the studio were saying they've given some dumb penalties away, and again, that's a silly penalty.
Just a reminder of the teams there, no changes at half-time, so it is still that one change for Scotland with Al Kellock on for Richie Gray. I mean, good news to hear that it's just a hamstring. It certainly did look worse than that.
It looks a real bad hamstring injury, not to be stretchered off. It's very unusual to see someone stretched off with a hamstring, but just fingers crossed that he's okay.
So once more to Laidlaw, and once more this will be right on his limit. And the angle as well will take this to near enough 50 metres.
It's a tough kick just immediately after sitting in the changing room for 10 minutes as well, and trying to get back up to speed with the game, get warm. It's 46 metres. It's a big old nudge.
I think this one might almost be beyond him.
Yeah, I think so. And also, if anything, the wind is slightly against him, so this will be right on his limit.
Well, Duncan Weir can knock him over from a good 10 metres further than Laidlaw, but Laidlaw certainly has the direction, but this one just shy. And Biggar comes away despite the attentions of Harley. And Scotland will have a chance to come again. This is Weir, and out to Hogg.
Great tackle again.
And Scotland just about get that one back.
Just
turnover, Wales ball. And penalty now to Wales.
That's Warburton, I think. Warburton at his best. Great hit. Stayed on his feet.
It's a fantastic turnover. Everything legal. You see him the initial hit, and then got back to his feet. He's holding his body weight, he's got his hands on the ball, and he's taking on four Scottish defenders.
I think Hogg has got to leave it go there. I think he's a goalkeeper.
There is Warburton. Well, I mean, Tipuric was perhaps hard done by because he's played so well, and I think Warburton was perhaps put back in with an eye on getting him back into the side and England to come and things like that, but he'll be looking desperate to prove his worth today. Hibbard, let's see how he can fare in the line-out in the second half. This one works well to Ian Evans.
Use it! Yeah, hands on.
Off go the Wales forwards, and Faletau sets it back.
Run away, Blue!
And Wales just slowly, steadily working their way into a good position, and then Phillips sees the gap, and Phillips breaking away. There is Warburton again, and Wales stringing it together.
Very comfortable.
Phillips again, this time finds Hibberd, and Hibberd shrugs off Scott. And Wales suddenly up to within 10 metres. There's Paul James. 10 phases have taken them this close. Use it, says the referee. Mike Phillips will do that now. Faletau is there.
Good defensive line speed there by Scotland. They have to counter this. They have to be a little bit more aggressive. They can't be passive.
Here they come again though, Wales, and powering their way on.
Kelly Brown's in there. No, he's cleaned him out.
And still the Scottish defence is just about equal to it. Wales battering away on that gain line. Phillips pops it out to Alan Wynne-Jones.
Two blue. No hands.
Trying to repel the attack and avoid conceding a penalty. Faletau again. Kelly Brown just about gets him down. Ball pops out and Scotland sees upon it. Wales though have the penalty again.
Number 8 sealing off.
Well, watch this now. Sealing off the ball.
Arriving player, no contest.
I think that's unlucky for John Beattie, but the ball is loose. I think Ewan Murray gets his hand in there, so that's kind of a, well, that's a knock on actually. It's not forward pass. And then just watch, he says sealing off. Well,
it's very difficult when there's not an opponent there. There's no Welshman there. What do you do? If he didn't do that, the Welsh guys would probably just came thundering through. But a really intensive start to the second half from Wales, and making the ground yet again in and around the rucky there. Mike Phillips with a cheeky break and a powerful fend, and that's where yet again they're making the inroads.
Well, Ryan Jones receiving some treatment, with Halfpenny lining up another simple kick in the background.
He's had a big season, Ryan Jones.
Well, this game of many penalties, and the latest one falls to Lee Halfpenny to move Wales further in front at the start, or in the early stages at least, of this second half.
6 points either side at half time for Wales is really crucial. It really gives them a little buffer zone, obviously 16-12 points up, but you could very easily have been behind just before half time.
We'll start to get to the stage where Scotland might need to score tries, and they haven't. Wales haven't conceded a try since O'Driscoll's try against them in that first match in the 43rd minute in Cardiff. North puts a sizable leg on that one.
Plenty of men back.
Beattie almost got past North. Ryan Grant is well met.
Good defence again by Wales.
This is Hogg, and it sounds as if it might have come off a Welsh body en route.
And again, I think they have to go through the. I know, have a little bit of confidence. They put it through the hands. Fortunate there, touched in flight.
I think it's under pressure by the magnificent Welsh defence as well. There's a noticeable difference in the speed of the line speed, as it's known. As I think that's Ryan Jones suffering again. But the Welsh line speed's putting Scotland under pressure.
They play on though with Jones down. Kellett takes that for Scotland. So Wales with 14 men at the moment, and that is perhaps telling. Scotland get the drive, get that rolling ball moving, and then there's a bit of a growl from the crowd. Penalty coming, and there it is for Scotland. This game is just a series of penalties broken up by some interesting rugby.
Yeah, and again, Scotland is back.
That's a difficult skill. I mean, I know almost as much about driving mauls as I do about scrums, but the forwards working that time and time again. And that's driven on 15 yards and a penalty opportunity, as we see Ryan Jones struggling.
Yeah, it's a grim look, Ryan Jones. That doesn't look pretty.
No, it's just he's on his hand, isn't he, coming off? So
yeah, holding his wrist or something. Justin Tipperick will get his moment to come on now. He is another specialist open side.
That's great, thank you.
Who may add a bit more rugby to the occasion as well. He's a fantastic player in the open.
Yeah, he looks very disappointed, Ryan Jones, isn't he, coming off there.
Laidlaw again. He's picking up the tee. He really is one of the deadliest kickers around, and as long as Scotland have Laidlaw and his penalties, they have a chance. They have hope in this match. They're back with their point. Ryan Jones in to receive treatment, Justin Tipuric on, and it's a one-point game again. So Biggar's restart, this one taken in a better fashion by Beattie. There's a powerful ball carrier into Adam Jones there. Hogg's kick, charge down.
Great charge down. They have, both sides have really put pressure on the kickers, haven't they? They haven't had time.
That was Alan Wynne-Jones.
Just watch him come in, jumps in the air, great commitment.
And then technical point, they come from outside the ball, so obviously it's where the ball's going to go, not from the inside and the inside shoulder, so it makes it much more difficult to get up and over.
Yeah, I think Alan Wynne-Jones is a world-class player, and Coombs very unlucky not to get picked because he's been in fine form, but he's world-class, Alan Wynne-Jones.
Kellogg takes that one in for Scotland from the line out, and they try and get a few more yards, buy their kicker some ground. Kelly Brown holding it at the back. So Laidlaw, scrum half, clearing himself.
Got some distance on that kick, didn't he? It's a very, very good kick.
Well, touch judge has just scampered up the line and given a far better there as Warren Gatland.
One of the Smurfs.
It's all brain under there. Anyway, he'll be very, very interested to observe the Lions coach, of course.
Come in.
Wales have lost 3 of their 9 lineouts. This one is safely gathered in. And Biggar can't quite find a way through there.
I'm surprised they haven't used Jamie Roberts going down the weir channel.
Jonathan Davis as well is a hard man to stop.
Wales creep over the halfway line again. Back it comes to Biggar, just has a little think about things, and then Tim Visser is back. Takes it well.
Right.
And Visser's kick isn't too shabby.
You sometimes wonder if there's so much riding on this game for both sides with half an eye in the championship, if either of the sides want to risk it to go for the try or to make the big impact in the game. There's an opportunity for Scotland to attack from that line-out drive they had in their own 22. Now we're obviously not going to take it at this point, but keeping an eye open for that later on in the match. And also might have been an opportunity for Lee Halfpenny to take a quick line-out and get that running game. Jonathan Davis and Jamie Roberts, Lee Halfpenny, Alex Cuthbert, who we've not seen into the match.
We talked about the conference coming back to these two sides. Perhaps it's not fully there yet. And Hibbard's throw safely down the Welsh side. And a penalty to Wales.
Collapsing them all.
Collapsing them all that time. I mean, some rugby is threatening to break out between the penalties occasionally, but not often. It's a messy game.
Yeah, it's a very messy game. Not much rugby. He will go. Well, I think Lee Halfpenny fancied that.
Well, Visser trying to keep it in. That was a sort of trying to curve it off the outside of the boot there, Biggar.
And I'm just watching a conversation between Lee Halfpenny and Neil Jenkins. He's going, I could have gone for that, I could have gone for that. And Neil's saying, well, shout at him. You're the goal kicker.
Well, what they have got off that very well-crafted kick by Biggar off the outside of his right boot, a good field position here. And that one taken in by Wynne-Jones. And what can Wales make of this? Oh, straight through. Looked to be Warburton making some ground.
Far blue.
And Scotland's defence is frantic once again.
6 blue.
All the warnings coming to the Scottish players. There is Alan Wynne-Jones. On to Dan Biggar and beyond, and there is Alex Cuthbert. Well brought down by Lamont. But still they drive in, looking for that second try. Phillips finds some hefty runners there. Lost forward by Wales, so Scotland will have the scrum. Just a little fumble there from Mike Phillips.
I'm not not sure if it was Mike Phillips. I think the presentation wasn't good when the tackler hit the ground. Just watch.
Your player on the ground. Yeah.
No, I wrongly blame Phillips. It was the hands coming out from the ruck.
Now this is a big scrum. I think Wales will try and attack this. Scotland will want to clear their lines. They want to protect Laidlaw.
Cries of Scotland met by those from the travelling fans. Still just a point in it.
Touch!
Well, that's a penalty to Wales. You can see them just falling into that scrum now.
Who would want to be a coach? I'm telling you, they must be.
Are you in charge of the scrum?
It's both sets of
I'm asking a question. Are you in charge of the scrum?
Yes. It's not just us though.
Listen carefully. I do need a change of behaviour, Ross. I cannot just continue to penalise.
Yeah, that's...
And I'm going to have to escalate to a yellow card, and you're going to have to be the man responsible. Can you take that?
Yeah, I'll look
I need you to take that clear message, please. Thank you. Yeah.
Well,
South African meets borderer with a difference of opinion.
you can see who Joubert is favouring here.
I disagree with him there, but yeah.
They need a behaviour change.
I do sometimes wonder, since they've changed it from crouch, touch, pause, engage to crouch, set, engage, that it's even messier at the engagement now.
I know it's purely health reasons. You know, it's such a dangerous part of the game, but they have to look at it because it's killing some games.
And some referees, obviously, different people have different times of holding as well.
But it's a difficult job for them as well. You know, unless you've been in there in the front row, I don't think you can really understand it unless you've been in there.
Well, it's another gift to Lee Halfpenny right in front of the posts. Over it goes, and Wales lead once again, 4 points.
See what happens from this kick-off. If the game follows the game's trend, I think there'll be an opportunity for Scotland in the next minute or so.
Penalty.
Well, again, a switch just at the last minute there from Duncan Weir to the other side. And North once more is the receiver and returns it, doesn't find touch, and here comes Hogg and Weir and wide to Visser. No way around Cuthbert, who tries to heave him towards touch.
Back time, Red. Push back here.
Hogg again, and pass eventually taken by Jim Hamilton. Penalty again to Wales.
Sam Warburton was in there really quickly.
And Kelly Brown is the man penalised there.
You can't. The crowd can't see it, from where they sat. But I think, as Chris said,
yeah, Warburton did really well. You see this black scrum. He's in almost before
there he is.
Scotland hit the ground. He's in and he's got his hands in the ball.
That's a great combination. The tackle by Tipuric. Warburton goes in. I was expecting a big game from this man. He's certainly turned up today to play.
You called a penalty, Jonathan, but for sure.
Okay, Halfpenny's going to have a kick. Let's get the thoughts of Martin Williams.
Right, Andrew. Yeah, basically the scrum is causing the Scottish all sorts of problems, and it looks like they're probably a little bit nervous. They know they've got to try and win the hit, and they've gone early 4 or 5 times now. So I don't think Craig Joubert is the most popular man in the Scottish camp. But I think if you do actually break them down and look at them, they are going that split second too early.
It all gives Lee Halfpenny another chance to take Wales beyond 20 points. He's watching it anxiously, but he needn't be anxious. Through it goes. Wales 7 points in front now, and Scotland suffering death by 1,000 penalties here at Murrayfield.
They might have to change their attitude now, Scotland, because they have to go for the try. 20 minutes left. It's a great strike as well. Plenty to spare there as well.
Well, Rob Harley underneath that one, he was hearing. I thought he might have been beyond the kicker there. Scotland piling in, and perhaps They do need something like that to bring a sense of urgency. Grant drives on.
He's there again.
Laidlaw in there digging away for it. Once more, Grant gets in. And just about arriving in time, Kellock, and then the drive comes in from Ewan Murray alongside him. And suddenly Scotland seem to have found an accelerator. Kelly Brown brought down by Adam Jones. Deep it goes to Maitland. Oh, he nearly took the hit from Biggar. Not the finest pass for him. Penalty coming for Scotland. This time the advantage is there. And there it is now.
I think this is, Tipuric goes straight to the middle, but he loses his footing and then he's penalised.
I think that's a harsh call. I think he obviously drove through the contact. You're allowed to come from behind the most foot straight through and stay on your feet. He loses his footing, but then he immediately tries to get back. He's almost pulled through with Scotland, but you can see how hard he tries to get up.
It's a very difficult.
It's difficult.
You're there, your first man there, you're on your feet, and the cavalry come in behind you to clear you out, and you've got to try and stay on your feet. It's very difficult.
It's not selling this game of rugby union very well. Final quarter. This is Laidlaw, though, to bring Scotland within 4 points. Of course he does, and that is the difference.
I think Ken Owens is coming on as hooker for Wales. Every time he has come on, he has made an impact.
Yes, he'll replace Richard Hibbard, who has scored the only try of this game. There is Ken Owens, the Scarlets hooker. And the return of the restart is a good kick by Johnny Beattie.
He's an educated left foot. You often see it.
Yeah.
You see it more often than not, actually. But a good option. But yet again, it's possession for Wales on the halfway line.
There is Hibbard. He has done his bit and scored the try. Just confirmation that Ryan Jones has a shoulder injury. Scotland nearly getting hands to that one, but Phillips, up it goes from the scrum half. And a penalty to Scotland, and that says offside again. It's one that's hard to avoid.
I think it's George North definitely offside.
11.
Delayed the kick.
Yeah.
We know Laidlaw doesn't have the distance for this. Duncan Weir is thinking about it. Or is he just going to pop it into the corner? That's what he is going for. And a conservative kick.
Yeah, I think the wind is definitely favouring Wales in the second half, just by Halfpenny's kick. Just watch George North. He's in front of the kicker. Delayed the kick. George didn't delay his run.
That one taken down by Harley for Scotland. It's been held at the back there by Kellock, and they've used it once as the referee.
Don't ref.
And still the drive comes, and Kellock holds and sets it back for Scotland. Ryan Grant is in there, very busy loose head prop. And there is another penalty. Penalty after penalty from one side to the other.
Great drive. Great fucking drive.
Then
I need to see
Scottish
you clearly on your
forwards
feet before you go back.
really having a go.
Clearly on his feet before he went back.
Let's just watch. Warburton goes in third man, right? He says he didn't get back on his feet. Such a tough call, Chris.
It is. I mean, it's so difficult for the players to understand. I mean, he wasn't the tackler there. He was the third person there, which therefore should allow him to keep his hands on the ball. He then doesn't have to release. Yes. But because the initial tackler, I'm not sure who it was, disappeared out of the ruck, then it made him look as if he was offended.
As long as the referee is consistent, and then the players know what he's gonna do. It's very difficult.
If this game is not settled by a penalty, I'll be surprised. Laidlaw has landed 6 from 7 so far. What misses? There's the first one that he's missed in direction.
Commentator's curse there.
Yeah, it's a strange and powerful thing. Mind you, 6 from 8 on a day like today is not too shabby.
No.
Hibbard scuds one low. Here goes Johnny Beattie. It is Weir.
Tackler, play on, tackler.
Yeah, Tipuric, great turnover. Great turnover. They've got to go wide now. Oh, Faletau had to give it. There were numbers left hand side, still on.
Oh, and the ball spilled. And Scotland have it. Real chance there for Wales.
There was an opportunity there. They had an overlap on the left hand side. Oh,
we are flinging it deep right over the head of Hogg. And Hogg now into Adam Jones. And Scotland suddenly all the way back, almost in their own 22. There's Beattie again trying to use some power. That kick just comes away. Scotland just do not look comfortable with ball in hand, and it's given now to Alex Cuthbert, dangerous man in the wing. Look at that power coming in. He's almost went over the top of Visser. Suddenly it's Wales' chance. There is Ken Owens, replacement hooker.
Game's breaking up a little bit now. It's loose.
Halfpenny. And still they come into the 22.
The offload.
Very good hands, and there is Faletau again, rolling and still going.
Great clear out.
Now Wales' turn to pick up the pace. Alan Wynne-Jones through the middle. Dan Biggar, Jonathan Davis and Jamie Roberts.
Good angle. Great defence though.
Tackle.
Dougie Weir offside again.
There is the penalty coming for Wales.
Mike Phillips looked dangerous today as well.
Here comes Tipuric. They have that penalty coming, but they want a second try. Still advantage Wales. Biggar looking for Faletau. Another advantage, new advantage for Wales. Penalty is there. Again, they close down on that line. Ball retention is good. Come back for the penalty now, says the referee.
Yeah, I think he's lucky they beat the earlier penalty, because that was a yellow card offence. The pressure, they're in the red zone.
13 blue offside.
Well, 13 blue is Sean Lamont. Offside, says Joubert.
Fair enough.
Yep. Well, Sam Warburton saying that's quite a few times. Quite a few penalties there. What do you think about that, ref?
Politely asked, didn't he? Look.
It's quite a few, isn't it, ref?
Yes, I think it's time you thought about using those cards, ref.
A bit more tempo to the game there. Multi-phase from the Welsh guys. The Scottish defence held firm. Pulled up for offside at the end there, and everybody gets their breath back. But it's good to see that multi-phase and the Welsh guys bringing their backs into play, and Duncan Weir a tremendous tackle on Jamie Roberts. First time we've seen Jamie Roberts hit a line like that for a little while.
And again, this would of course take Wales 7 points clear, or a converted try in new money. He really has steadied himself since his early jitters from the kicking tee, and it's hymns and arias in the background for Halfpenny. It is good from Lee Halfpenny. 25-18 Wales leads. And something of a record there. That sets a new record for penalties in a Six Nations match. That's 12, beating the 11 France-Italy 2000. It's not a record to be proud of, but it's fact.
It's a record.
12 penalties in a game. Lord help us all. Duncan Weir then with the restart. And Scotland still have time to respond though. You can put it past them the way they've played this season. They haven't done much of the ball. They haven't done a huge amount with it, but they've kicked a few goals.
And again, a left foot option, distance, first touch.
There is Hogg. much vaunted back three just hasn't had much of a chance. Ryan Wilson is on for Scotland to earn his first cap. Loose ball.
Lucky, there's a knock on there.
Got away with that one, Scotland.
Got away with it. The defence now, the Welsh have picked their defence up, and Scotland look uncomfortable, you know, playing the wider game. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to get a little bit, they're trying to go wide without going up the middle first, and they put themselves under pressure.
There's Kellock picking it up, and Scotland look a little bit confused at the moment.
Use it.
Duncan Weir sends it high again. Halfpenny coming forward and takes it beautifully.
He does everything so well, doesn't he, Halfpenny?
Fantastic player.
And again, a difficult kick for Biggar, but this time he's found a bit of space.
Back goes Weir. Feeds it to Hogg. Hogg back to Weir. And then Lowe.
For Latrid. For Latrid.
Stan Biggar sends it high this time. And a knock on from Wilson coming forward for his first touch. Wales have the scrum.
I think with both Warburton and Tipuric on the field, I think that's exactly why Scotland are looking under pressure with the ball in hand. These guys are doing so well and so much work at the break and slowing the possession down.
There's Ryan Wilson is earning his first cap. And Glasgow number 8 with a knock on.
There's Lee Halfpenny once again.
Sorry, I just want to see this. The very last thing I want to do is make you responsible for this early engagement.
Well, I think a beauty to watch. Halfpenny taking the high ball. We talked about Hogg and Halfpenny comparisons, and it's difficult. They're not like for like in terms of fullback. They're different fullbacks, but they do what they do very well.
It hasn't been a day for, you know, attacking fullback play, is it, really?
No, Stuart Hogg, 2 or 3 occasions, you know, of late, in the last maybe 10 minutes, he's looked to try and spark someone, but he's been well marshalled by the Welsh defence, and both of them, interestingly, have come in at first and second receiver to try and, you know, I suppose, show off their handling skills, which is so vitally important as well.
Gatland's head is actually shrinking back into his duffel coat like a tortoise. I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Well, just to remind you, the game's coming up, of course, Ireland against France in Dublin later on. That's on BBC One HD. That's coming up shortly. In fact, England against Italy tomorrow at Twickenham, also BBC One HD. Still just 7 points in it into the final 10 minutes. Big shot from Wales. Penalty coming. When you see a scrum as dominant as that, you know that it's going to end in a penalty, but
Yep.
a bit tired of seeing penalty today.
Big scrum.
I think from first viewing it looked as if Wales didn't jump early. They went early and Scotland are holding back because they've had the warning for it, and I think Wales maybe got away with one there.
Yes.
But if you do it all together, that's a big thing. The timing was there and just caught Scotland on their heels. An opportunity for Lee Halfpenny.
All the promise in terms of entertaining rugby from Scotland that came against Italy. They are still up there with 6 tries. They've scored so many tries, but the last 2 games it was a very good win against Ireland, but there are no tries, and this seems to have been a bit of a step back so far. The game is not over yet, and there's still some time, but this is a big kick, of course, to take it beyond 7 points.
Yeah, this is a big kick. I think this is a kick to win the match now with the clock against Scotland.
Halfpenny knows that one is good, and Wales are crucially 10 points clear in this match, and a lead which they probably do deserve. She looks a bit chilly as well, the patron of the SRU.
Fantastic credit to Lee Halfpenny for, you know, 2 difficult kicks early on. He missed and came back, and that must be, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 in a row since then.
Yeah, sweet as a nut. He's striking them now, isn't he?
Wales make a change as well. Mike Phillips is coming off, so Lloyd Williams will be on. And also coming on, Scott Williams. There is Lloyd Williams coming on at scrum half, and he's coming on, Scott Williams in the centre for Jamie Roberts.
There's not much rugby in the last few weeks. Oh, Scott Williams.
Weir goes down the middle this time, and Harley chasing, comes back, and it might well for Scotland. This one there is Laidlaw, straight into Lloyd Williams.
Off his head.
Well, Scotland needs something magical now, and the ball is loose, and they haven't threatened anything magical in this match. Carried by Jim Hamilton. The ball's still there for Scotland, and they haven't been in the Welsh 22 too often. They're told to use it by the referee.
Well, I don't think a penalty is enough now. You know.
There's Kellock. Despite the attentions of Paul James, there's Ryan Wilson. Oh,
Great tackle.
Man and ball. Ryan Grant felt it. Still with Scotland though. Back it goes to Visser. Still with Scotland, and they are making some ground. 10 phases to get this far. And Lammett looks infield and almost through, and Scotland have a chance now. Visser once again through the middle.
Great play by Scotland.
And they need a try now. Hogg, great tackle. What a hit comes in, but advantage to Scotland. Penalty, offside Wales.
Very good play by Scotland, the inside ball.
It's two quick passes, wasn't it? I think with Sean Lamont to Sean Maitland and then on to Tim Visser in a much better tempo. I believe that's what Scotland need to do.
And also taking it to the gain line. Right on the line. Oof.
It's a good tackle.
Great tackle though.
So that was the penalty. Wales offside. This is the situation. 5.5 minutes to go. 10 points the difference. And the encouragement around Murrayfield. They dearly love to see a try. Ross Ford taken in there by Kellock. Oh, and Adam Jones strips him, comes away with it.
Yeah, good play, Adam Jones. What?
Deep to Biggar. And Biggar finds Visser, and then into Hogg. Wide to Maitland. A little switch in field comes Matt Scott. And Scotland back into the 22. Penalty again to Scotland. So a little chip over the top is just hopeful, but Lee Halfpenny, Sean Lamont takes out some frustration with a thump. Knows that was just about fair enough. It looked hard in the back of Halfpenny, but he was committed to the hit.
Yeah, that's in slow motion as well, so
yeah, I think it's fair.
You got to make the tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Wales being penalised. I think it was George North for not rolling away that time. And Scotland have another opportunity to kick to the line and build some momentum. The Welsh defence is holding firm, wasn't it?
Well, just before this line out, Scotland are going to make another change. So Murray Lowe coming on. Coming on for Ewan Murray. They took the line out before and Murray Lowe could get there.
He's trying his best to get there now, look.
Well, this really is Scotland's last chance.
Well, it's very, very slow.
Well, getting closer and closer, up to within 5 metres, trying to get that ball back. Little pick and drive from Kellock again. He's still scrabbling on. Time is very much against them. And Wales may have the win at the end of all this, but is there to be a try for Scotland? Closer still, ball still laid back. It's the massive bodies in defence and attack. The crowd urging them on once again. Jim Hamilton trying to stretch that frame, getting underneath him. Ian Evans so close to the line, but they need to.
There's the ball though.
Get it over, get it down. 2.5 minutes remaining in the match. It's not going to be enough to win it, but there's Jeff Cross there who's come on instead of Murray Lowe. They've changed their numbers. 2 metres out. Still they're kept at bay. Laidlaw having a look.
Great defence, Dan Biggar off the line very, very quickly.
Up so quickly, and Ryan Wilson and Scotland back to 3-4 metres, just securing it.
The counter-rucking them now.
All the while the clock ticks away.
I think Paul James got his hands on Adam Jones.
Well, that's another penalty, and well, we're in the dying moments of the game, but Craig Joubert is going to have a word. Might even be more than that, but I think it'll be just a chat.
I think he's going, is he, or is he a warning?
Deliberately holding on to the ball a metre from your goal line.
No, it doesn't count.
Deliberate offence.
Well, he'll not miss 10 minutes, he'll miss 2 minutes, but they'll have to, of course, change that.
Well, they should get a scrum now, shouldn't they?
Yeah,
Got to go for
you
a
would
scrum.
opt for the scrum, of course. But again, the Welsh guys only 2 or 3 yards from the line. Scotland throwing absolutely everything at it. Paul James would argue he's on his feet, but his upper body's.
They're not going for that.
Well, they've taken already. Paul James is off, and Scotland looking for the try now. 2 minutes to go. They go wide.
I'd have thought the scrum was had to be the call there with the prop going off.
There's Kellick again, and again makes decent ground. Kelly Brown.
Great defensive line speed again. They've just been a little bit too deep. If they're taking the ball up, they've got to go flatter.
Penalty this time to Wales. It comes to nothing for Scotland. Their frustrating, ineffective day is summed up. Penalty to Wales, time for a man of the match.
Well, that's it. Look, they're all tapping him on the head. Sam Warburton has been absolutely immense in this game. He's come back. Yeah, and he is my RBS Six Nations man of the match. Lee Halfpenny has had another big game. The Welsh pack have gone well. But this guy, Sam Warburton, has been absolutely outstanding.
Can't keep a good man down. There's no slight on Justin Tipperick because he's a great open side flanker as well. But Warburton, class is permanent. And 3 turnovers won. Highlighted a few of them throughout the match. And that clearing kick from Wales as we head into the final minute will ensure their victory. Chris, thoughts on Scotland's performance today?
Similar in many ways, Aaron. A huge committed performance, fronted up physically, but the discipline was letting down. It's the penalties, it's the story of the game as George North tries to burst away.
And saw the man overrun it, didn't quite give the pass, so still with Wales. There's Jonathan Davis. Seconds ebb away in the final passage of play. Wales now can attack with some abandon. Cuthberton does get it away, but there was a forward pass there, so that will bring them back. Tipperick thought he had it. Slight forward pass, and Craig Joubert will look at his watch. He's not looking at his watch.
No, I think there's 20 seconds left on the stadium clock, and I think he's going from that clock.
Okay. All right, well, we are the official timekeepers. We are the keepers of time, Craig. We decide when the match is over.
Well done, Andrew, today. Lasted the pace.
And there we go. I've seen out 80 minutes. I do feel a bit sick again, though.
Well, you know.
Just check out, come here. Just.
There we go. So we're just going to check it. This is going to be time, so it's a rather protracted end to a bit of a messy match.
That's fine.
There we go. That's not right.
Is that correct? Okay, thank you. You want to do a sub now?
Oh, a sub. Well, they've got to put the sub on for a scrum. Because Paul James is off, they have to put a prop on. You know, I know he is This should be.
This is. I'm sorry. Our clock is correct. I think the message is getting passed down to him now. Craig Joubert's determined to see another scrum. He's very excited for another scrum.
The time is correct on the clock.
The clock says 80 minutes anyway, so irrespective if it's 80, 55 or 80 minutes, time is up. That is the clock. That must be the shortest time on the field ever for the, to come on now. Ryan Bevington.
Well, there we go. It is a strong Scottish scrum, and picked up at the back by Ryan Wilson. Well, maybe there is something for Scotland. Jackson Hogg cannot get away from Cuthbert. Scrum to Wales. Well, let us draw a veil over proceedings here with that knock on Craig Joubert. The match is over. A very good win for Wales. They have come from 8 defeats in a row, and suddenly they are faint title contenders. But to be in that position at all is some achievement.
Yeah, it's a scrappy match. A lot of penalties. The scrum was a